Okay, so today we'll talk about Salesforce flows. Means what is flows, what are different type of flows, and before that we'll just talk about a little bit about the automation in the Salesforce and how flows are getting empowered in last few releases and in the future releases as well. And it is going to be the next biggest automation tool in Salesforce, and it will be going to use on a very large scale in the future just to minimize the Apex side or the coding as well, and for the automation of the processes as well. Okay, so these are the point for discussions for today's session. So first one is the different automation tools in Salesforce. Then what is Flow and Flow Builder, and then we'll go with the elements and resource manager in Flow Builder, and what are all the different type of flows, and we'll go with the demo for each type of different flows, and we'll have more details on the flows and see the real life scenarios where we can utilize the different type of flows in different type of scenarios. And at the end, we'll just have a Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions, so we'll try to answer them. So first is the automation tools in Salesforce. So currently we have approval process, workflow rules, process builder, and flows. Also, we are having dynamic actions and dynamic forms, which are a new enhancement, new innovation from the Salesforce side. So currently, for most of the automation or for the making the backend changes, we use heavily workflow rules and process builders. But from last 2 3 years, Salesforce introduced flows, and it is in Lightning. So earlier there was a Visual Force flow, but now it is like Lightning flows, and it is more advanced, and it is having lot of different features, which where like whatever the actions we can perform with the workflow rules or process builders, or even with the triggers or the batch effects, if there is there with the some restrictions, we can implement this with the flow. And flow basically is a tool where we can just drag and drop and define the rules, and it will just automate the process. And as we are going to, we are listening that workflow rules and process builders may go away. So the flow will be the future, and all the automations would be done with the flows. And so the flow is a part of Salesforce where like the data has to be collected and perform a specific action based on the rules defined in the flow. And it can be called from multiple places, whether it is called from within Salesforce and outside Salesforce as well. Basically there are two type of flows. One is screen flow, where we can get the input from the users, and another one is auto launch flow, where on the back end we can define a specific process and it just update the data into the Salesforce. So just to define the rules and what are steps to be followed in a particular flow, so we use a flow builder. So this is just a overview of a flow builder, how it looks like. And this flow builder is just a tool where we just can drag and drop the elements, and we can just define like what will be the process to automate the particular business use case. Okay, so then we have different type of flows. So first one is screen flow, where like we just get the input from the user, and on the back end we can just define the process if we want to store multiple records with the different like if we want to get the input from the user from the account and contact, and we just want to store it in just a single screen, we can utilize the screen flows. Or if there is a specific use case where we want to get some user input and perform some action on the back end, so in such scenarios we use screen flows. The second one is the record trigger flow, it just works similar to the Apex triggers, where whenever the record is created, update, or even deleted, we can just define a specific process and we can just update on the back end. So it is just like an Apex triggers, but with some of the limitations. If there is any complexity or the complex logic need to be implemented, or so in such scenarios, we just have to follow with the Apex trigger. But in most of the cases, we can use record trigger, where we just have to drag and drop the elements and define the logic over there. And next is schedule trigger flow. So where we can schedule a specific process, like on the weekly basis, we have to clear out some data or archive some data, or every on the weekly basis, we have to maintain some specific operations. So in such cases, we can use schedule trigger flow. So we can just automate the process, and it will take care of all the processes which are frequently, or we have to do it every week or every day. So we can just automate them with the schedule trigger flow. Next is we have platform event triggered flow. So we can also define some specific process when there is any platform event happens. So in many scenarios, we have to interact with the multiple applications along with the Salesforce, and sometimes we use platform events to interact with the different systems. So in the flow itself, we can define if we receive any message on a platform event, and we can just define a process which can update some information in the Salesforce itself based on the event. So that also can be automated with the help of this platform event trigger flow. Next is auto launch flow. So here we just have to provide some input to a flow, and based on the inputs, it just performs some operation, and it can be called either from the Apex or from the process builder, or from some REST API, or from outside Salesforce. And we can just perform specific operation based on the input which we receive in the auto launch flow. So now we'll talk about the elements of a flow builder. So in flow builder, we have different type of elements, like we can add a screen onto the flow, or we can perform actions. So actions can be either like we need to post something, some message on the chatter, or we we just have to send an email to the specific group of users, or a specific user on a particular event. And then we have like logic elements, where like either we can assign some value to a specific variable, or decision is just like an if else, if we talk in terms of the technical or Apex. So we can define if there is a specific value, we can perform specific actions, or we can provide some pause as well. So if there is any gap need to be given, so we can provide pause. We can use loops to perform operation on the records, like if we have 100 records, and we can perform an action on the particular loop. Then we have collection sort. So this is newly introduced in last release, where we can sort a specific record of collections, or we can just sort it on the multiple inputs. So we'll also see it while we go with the demo. Then on the data side, we have like either we can create records or update the existing records, or we can fetch the records from the Salesforce as well. And or if you want to delete a specific record, that so all type of operations can be performed with just these elements on the data as well. And then we have resources. So these are basically variables which we use to interact between different elements. So we can create formulas over here, like if you want to calculate some specific date, like from today after 10 days, what would be the date after 10 days? Or if you want to calculate some specific amount, so let's suppose I want to calculate the total of a particular value. So that can be achieved with the formulas, or we can have different type of variables over here. So we can create variables for decision taking, or we can create. So we'll go with this. This is just a high level overview to you, so just you can have a sense of it. Then first of all, we'll go with the screen flow. So screen flow generally requires user interaction, like we need to get the input from the user, and then based on that, we'll perform some operation on the back end, and we can just get it done with the screen flow itself. So here we have like different below options from where we can just use those flows. So we can just add those flows on lightning pages, or we can just call it inside aura component as well, or lightning web component as well. So there are different places where we can just call the screen flow and define a simple process over here just in with a few clicks. So just to explain how ScreenFlow works, I have a requirement. I need to create a screen to get an account and contact details and save or update them on the backend. So we'll just try to create a single screen where we will take account and contact the details, and we'll just store it in the backend, and we'll just show the message to the user that details are saved successfully. So let me just switch my screen. So is my screen visible now?
Yes.
Thanks for the confirmation. So we'll try to implement over here like screen flow, where we just have the input from the user about the account and contact details. So we just have to drag and drop this screen over here, and inside this we just have to define the different blocks. So what I did, this is a section. So from this left side, you can just drag and drop the elements over here. So first element in my case is section, and in section basically I can divide a particular screen into multiple parts. So if I just add a column over here, so it will just show me the different columns. So the multi-column screen can be designed over here. So as per the need. So for now, I just created two sections. First one is the company information or the account information. So I'll be taking account information over here. What is the company name or the phone number for the company, and what is the rating of that particular company. And one more thing here, like I have this rating over here, which is a pick list. And inside pick list, I can define whether it is required or not, or what will be the output of the pick list. So I can define a variable over here to store the ratings value to it. And in the second section, I'm just using the contact details. So what is the first name, last name, or the email of the contact person from that particular company. And we can define the footer as well, like what will be the buttons over here. So we can change it as well. So first, we just have to define all these elements, what type of input we need from the users, and then we can just define each one its API name. So we can refer it in the next section, like what is the first name of contact. So and we can make it require, or we can just uncheck it if it is not a required field. So based on our requirement, we can mention specific field as required or not required, or we can define some default value as well. If some in some scenarios, if it is required, we can define the default value as well. Along with that, if we want to provide some validation over here, So we can define the formula over here, and we can just mention the error message. If you want to make some validation, for example, although email is already having validation over here, but still, if you want to set a specific validation, we can perform it. So we can provide the validation rules over here as well, and we can provide the error message as well. So it is just similar to the validation rules in Salesforce. So that particular can be implemented on the screen itself, so screen flow itself. And also we can provide the help text. So for the better understanding of a user. So if anyone hover on the last name and if you want to provide a specific information, we can put the help text over here. So all the possible options are available over here. So just to make a screen intuitive and make it more user friendly. So we can define the different type of, we have these components over here, and the new enhancement, although it's in beta version, but in the next release, they are coming up with the fields. So we can just get the record variable. So for example, if I want accounts a specific field from the account variable, so I can just select a variable from here and just define the fields from those particular account variable. So this is in beta version as of now, but in next release, it will be available to use. So we need not to, for now, what I have done, I just have defined the API name and I just defined the label name. So in the next release, we just have to drag and drop, because generally what happens, we just pick the fields from the account or contact or the existing, maybe it may be the custom object. So, but we just use those fields to create a screen or a new flow. So that can be used directly from here itself. So it is coming into the next release. So every release, Salesforce is adding a lot of features to the all their flows and making it more easy and more user friendly to utilize it and just complete the process in a very short span. So after getting this particular screen input, so first our task is to check whether the account information is already available in the system or not. So what we are going to do, we are going to use get record just to check if the account is already added. So what we do, we'll just provide the parameter. First, we define the object in the get record. So we are fetching it from account, and we are checking if there is any company name exist with the name or not. So if there is any, and we can define the sorting as well over here if required. So in this case, we just want to fetch only first record. So that's why I just selected only first record. In some scenarios, we have to perform operation on all the records, whatever based on the criteria. So we can select all records as well. And we can define specific field which we need to fetch, or a specific variable we can define over here. But now I'm using automatically store all the fields on the account. But you can define the specific fields, because in real life scenarios, we may have more than 100 different fields over there, and but we just want to use only 10 or 15 fields of that particular record. Just to optimize, we can just define the different options over here, and we can just mention the specific fields to utilize on this lead. So first we get the records of account, and we'll check if the account record is available there or not. So what we use, decision over here. So from the logic section, we'll use decision block over here. And in the decision block, we just define if account is available or not. So what we are doing, so in resources, we'll automatically have one variable which is account from check company name. So this check company name is, if you go and check the get records, so this check company name is the API name of the get records. So by which you can just find the variables. So what Salesforce do, account from, so the object name from the API name of the get record. So you can just get that particular variable over here, and we can check if account ID is null. So is null means we haven't fetched any record from the database, means we don't have any such account as of now. So we just mention the label account is not available. And the otherwise in the second section, it is the else part. So account exists. So when we attach it to our different blocks further, so we'll come to know, okay, account exists. In that case, I'll just go for the contact. I'll not take any action for the account. If account is not available, what I have to do, I have to create a record. So again, I'll just drag and drop the create record from the data section, and I'll click on the create record. And here I will define whether I need to create multiple records or just a single record. And here we can define what information we want to put. So in this case, I just have name, phone number, and rating. So that's why I just use the second option, and I've defined on account object. I'm having these three information and just create a record with only these three information for now. So once this will be created, so now we have account information with us. So we are going to create contact on the fly. So first we'll check if the contact exists or not. So you can add or remove the conditions from here. If you have more conditions, you can just click on add condition. Or if you want to remove a condition, existing condition, you can just remove it. So what we are checking over here, if there is any existing contact with the first name, last name, or email, so we'll just utilize those information to just check whether the record is available or not. And then again, similar way, we are using this check if contact exists or not. So contact from get contact. So get contact is again the API name of the get records and the contact object from this particular. And we are checking if it is null or not. If it is not null, means the contact exists. Otherwise, contact is not available. And then if contact is not available, we are going to create a new contact record with the create record element from the data section. So here we are again creating single record, and we are having a specific information which we are going to create over here. So we are just updating those information into the contact. And once we'll create account and contact both the records, we can just define a simple screen where we can just mention the details. Okay, congratulations that you have successfully created account and contact. And we can also define the click here to navigate to the account details. So what we can do, we just have to select all these, and we can just provide the URL link over here. So we just have to make a backslash and just a variable of that particular account ID. So what it will do, it will just, whenever a user will click on this particular section, it will just send it to a particular screen where the account details. So it will just go to the detail page of that particular account. So from the screen flow itself, user can go to the account section and just see the details if account is created successfully or not, or contact is created successfully or not. So this way we can create screens, and we can just utilize these different type of elements on the screen flow. And we can just with the drag and drop and just simple rules over here, we can create a screen flow and utilize it in our different record page or on the lightning page, or we can just use it in our LWC or Aura components as well. So now we will move, and one more thing, you can just debug it. So if you click on a debug over here, or you just want to run it, so you can run it, and it will just show you like how your screen will look like. And here we have different options. So if you want to run the latest version of that particular flow, so whenever we will save it, it will save another version of that particular flow. And sometimes we can just run flow as another user as well. So So this option is if we want to run flow with the specific user information, that also we can define over here. And we can provide like the details over here, since it is a required field. So that's why it is giving us the error. And when we click on the next, and in this side, we have debug details. So how the process is going, like if I click on the next and what is going to happen. So for now, it is just giving me an error. Otherwise, like once we put the information, it will just show the flow, like how the flow runs. So we can debug it, and if there is any error, we can just identify over here itself. So next, we'll go to the next one, which is our record trigger flow. So in record trigger flow, we have multiple options over here. While creating, updating, or deleting a record, we can just automate the process, and we can define like what we can achieve or not. So here we have three different options. First one is before save. So before saving the record, fields can be updated, or any existing record can be updated. So before save is 10 times faster than the other processes like process builder or workflow rules, because before save stores the information just before committing the record into the system. And after save is like after saving the record, we can perform more operations, since before save is having a limitations. So in after save, we can perform more operations after saving the record or updating the record. So in upcoming release, Salesforce is adding a new feature for after save. So we can perform outbound messages as well. So which currently only can be done with the workflow rules, but now it can be achieved with the flows as well. And another option is before deleting a record. So before deleting a record, if you want to perform some additional operations, or we want to update some information to the another record, that the child record is deleted, or some information we want to update, so we can use before delete as well. So for this, we have taken one scenario. Whenever an opportunity is created or updated, we just have to schedule an email notification after the close date and roll up industry name on the account level. So we have two requirements over here. First one is we have to schedule an email notification after the close date and roll up the industry name on the account level. So what we can do, we can just go and check the next flow, which is record trigger flow. So once you select the record trigger flow, you can click on this and you have multiple options over here. First is on which object you want to perform this record trigger flow, and then which type of options, whether when the record is created, or only for the record is updated, or created or updated, or even when the record is deleted. And then we can define the criteria. If stage name is closed won, when whenever the opportunity is won, then I want to perform some specific operations. So we can just, this is a new option which is provided recently in fast field updates. So we can just update the fields onto that particular record, or we can perform actions and related records. So if you want to perform some operation on the related record, then we just utilize it. So, and after selecting this, we can define the different paths. So by default, it will run immediately. But in this case, we have two requirements. One is immediately we have to update account with the industry information. And second one is run after 3 hours from the close date. So first we have to select the close date when the opportunity is getting closed. And after 3 hours from that, we want to perform a specific operations. So we can just select any multiple paths over here, schedule paths, and we can define like when, if you want to schedule something on on another condition, then we can do it from here as well. So once we define the two paths, now we have two different paths. One is run after 3 hours from close date, and we want to perform an action which is send an email for closed opportunity. So we want to update to the customer or to a specific group that, okay, this particular opportunity is closed and you can take further action on the opportunity or onto the contract. So now we need to use the manager over here, which is like resource manager. And here what we have done, we have created okay, so in action, if we see like so we just providing the body as over here opportunity successfully closed. But if we want to perform and if you want to send the beautiful message over here, so what we can do, we can create a new resource over here, which is of a text template, and we can define here with the rich text format, like we can just make the messaging colorful message, or we can attach some attachment as well, or we can attach a particular picture over here. So there are options to define an email as well. So here we are just sending in a simple email that opportunity is closed successfully, and we are just sending an email to the test user, but we can define over here the email address as well. And one more option over here is rich text formatted body. So if we are using the text template from the new resource, then we can just check it, and the email will go into the beautiful with the colorful format. So at that time we have to define over here if the our body is rich text formatted or not. So this way we can send an email with the help of action element from here. And in the immediate section, we just have to fetch all the opportunities related to the account. So what we have done over here, we have used opportunity object, and then we are defining account ID. So in all these automated flows, specifically in record trigger and schedule trigger, so we have $record variable automatically defined, given by Salesforce. So this we can use, and we can just get the account ID for all the records. So for example, if we are uploading the bulk opportunities into the system, so in that case, we can have like all the account ID for each record, and we can just utilize it and update it onto, means we can use it to fetch all the opportunities. So here, as you can see, I have selected all records. So we are fetching all the records from opportunity. And after fetching all the records, we are just going with the loop over here. And inside the loop, we just have to utilize this loop, and we just have to define like the collection variable. So fetch all opportunities attached with the account. So this is the name of my get record. So if you see here, fetch all opportunities attached with account ID. So this is an API name. So when you go onto the loop element and you just click over here, so it will automatically show you. So what are all the record collection variables available here? So we just selected the one which we get it from the get record, and we can define whether we want to run it from first to last or last to first. So, and then here we are assigning for each item what we have done. We have created a variable in the manager, in the resource manager, and we have created account industry over here. So what we are doing, we are adding a current item. So whenever we are inside loop, so you will find like the you will find all the loop element as current item from loop and the loop name. So this loop name is process all opportunities. So here it is a predefined way. If let's suppose I just want to add over here the current. So I just mentioned current item from the loop process. So it will just provide me that this particular variable, which is just a single record because we are performing loop on the all the records one by one. So it will be a single variable with the record details, and I can select it, and I can fetch the industry details. So I just have to select the industry. So this way we can just provide the details over here. And so we just have to define, like, for each item, we'll be processing this assignment element. And after last item, so once we'll loop through all the elements, we'll go on to this after last item and then update the record. So what we have to update, we just have to update account with the industry of all the opportunities. So here we are fetching the account with the record account ID. And as I mentioned, we have this record, dollar record variable by the Salesforce itself in all record trigger flows. So we already have the account ID from there. And then we are updating opportunity industry custom field we have created on the account. And we are just updating with the account industry, which we stored in this particular loop. So this way we can just define a process for the record trigger flow, and we can just update the account detail record. And just to verify if the process is correct or not, we can debug it. So this is also a new feature which introduced in last release itself. And we can define the specific opportunity ID over here. So it will take that particular opportunity ID and just process it from on the back end, and it will show you like how the this process will run. So this is the second type where the record trigger flow. And now we'll move to the next one, which is schedule trigger flow. So in schedule trigger flow, we can run at a specific time and frequency. So we can process records in the batches. So if in our org very less amount of records are there, and our org is a small one, and we have like only 4,000 to 2,000 accounts there, and we have like 20,000 opportunities there, and we want to perform some specific operations either weekly or daily, or even just a one-time operation need to be performed. In many cases, we have to update the records in one go for a specific requirement. So in such cases, currently we have to, earlier we were writing the batch Apex. So although the batch Apex is more powerful and it will be useful when we have bulk records, but in cases where we have just 5,000, 10,000 records and we want to perform some specific operations, so we can utilize the schedule trigger flow. So just to explain you how it works, I have another requirement. Like, we want to schedule a job to identify the opportunities which has a close date already passed, and we want to add a new task for the sales rep that he need to follow up with the users. So what we have to do, we just have to create a schedule trigger flow, and where every week we'll check, okay, these 10 opportunities already passed the close date and still open, that are not closed. So in that case, we have to add a task for the sales rep to follow up with the user with the customer, and just perform some specific action and try to close it in the next 1 week. So we'll go to the next one, which is the schedule trigger flow. So here we have options when we want to start that schedule trigger flow, at one on which date and what time we want to start it. And we can define the frequency over here, if you want to run it only once or daily or weekly. So based on that, so for now we have selected weekly. So every week it will run once, and based on the frequency over here for this, like if I select it's as today's date, so So if we select it as 18 September, so every Saturday 2 a.m. it will run. And if it is already passed, like is 2 a.m. is already passed, so it will run immediately. And next time it will run on the Saturday 2 a.m. So generally we just take it the future date, like on every Sunday, it will run at 2 a.m. On the weekly basis. So we can define it. Then we just have to define like which object we want to perform the operation. So on opportunity, and we are checking if opportunity is not closed and the date is already, close date is already passed. So if I select close date over here, but there is a limitation with the close date. So we just want to check condition over here, like less than today. But here is a limitation with the date field onto this, that we can just define a specific date. We cannot define a particular variable over here. So that's why we are not using close date over here. And what we'll do, we'll have another decision block over here. And in the decision block, we will check if close date has passed or not. So on the record section, again, we have a variable record automatically over here, and we'll check the close date is less than current date or not. So here, how we are calculating current date. So what we have done, we went to the manager section and we have created the formula over here. And for, so it is for the next date, but yeah, for the current date, we already have this current date variable over here, predefined variable. We are using this to check if close date is passed or not. If close date is passed, then we are fetching if there is already a task attached to this opportunity. So we are checking the object on the task object, and with the conditions like if the opportunity ID is this and subject is close date, means close date has been passed, and status is not completed, means still it is open and someone has to take action on this. So in that case, what we'll do, we'll just update the due date, because every week we are updating the due date, activity date as next week's date. So sales rep has to take an action within a week, and they can just try to close it in the upcoming week. So as we are running it on every Sunday, so user has to take an action within a week and try to close it, and with just have an interaction with the customer and try to close it. So if there is no task created, we just can create it with the create record. Again, we have selected, we just want to add only one record over here, and on task object, we want to create it. So the owner will be the records owner. So whosoever own that opportunity will be the owner of this task as well. And activity date is like next due date, which we created in the formulas over here. So we'll see it. And the subject is close date has passed, please follow. So it's just a message for the sales rep that they have to perform some action, and we'll attach it to the opportunity record. So this way we can automate the process, and here in the formula, we can just create 2 days plus 7 days. So in next 7 days, someone has to take an action and just close this opportunity. So when next time this process will run, the is close will be true for those particular records, and those particular records will not be picked up. So this way we can automate the process and see if there is any opportunity which is already passed and it is still open and the close date is already passed. So this way we can automate with the schedule trigger flow. And now next we'll go to the next type, which is auto launch flow. So in auto launch flow, it does not require any user interaction, and it also run on the back end. But here we generally pass some specific parameters to inform that flow that what type of action need to be taken. And it can be called from the process builder or from the Apex classes or REST APIs. So, or we can create custom buttons to perform this particular option on the back end. So to understand auto launch flow, we have a requirement that we want to create a button on the account detail page, and we want to send an email to the logged in user for an account with the opportunity details, like that particular that account, how many opportunities are there, means number of open opportunities, and what is the won and lost amount, total won and total lost amount for that particular opportunities related to an account. So now we'll go to the flow builder and see how it created. So first of all, in the manager section, we have created this input account ID, in which we'll be passing the account information, like what will be the account ID on which we'll be using this auto launch flow. And we can define over here whether this will be an input or output. So this way we can define the input parameters to the flow. And in some cases, if you pass some information from that flow, then we can select the available for output as well. So we can pass back the information from the, if we are calling this flow from the Apex, then we can just use this available for output. So we get the account ID inside this variable. Now what we're going to do, we'll be fetching the account details. So this is just an optional, but just to get some information related to account, I'm using this get record over here on the account and passing the input account ID over here. And I'm just fetching the first record over here. Once I'll get the account details, I'll be fetching all the opportunities related to this account. So it will be on opportunity object, and I'll be using this input account ID over here as in comparing with the account ID and fetching all the records. So I will fetch all the opportunities. Again, whenever we'll be using multiple records, we'll be using loop element over here. And inside loop, as I mentioned last time, we just have to define like what will be the collection variable over here. So again, it's opportunities from fetch all opportunities. And then here we have multiple information we want to fetch. So for each item, first we are defining whether the opportunity is closed or not. So what we are checking if is closed variable over on that particular record. And if it is true, means opportunity is closed, otherwise opportunity is open. So we have defined two elements over here, closed opportunity or open opportunity. And if opportunity is closed, again, we are checking if it is won or lost. So it is closed won or closed lost. So if it is closed won, we are adding up it to the total won amount. So as per the requirement, we want to fetch like all the total amount of won opportunities. So we are adding up into a variable. We created a variable total won amount. And similar way for lost OPs, we just have like how much of total lost amount. So, and we are adding up into this variable. So this way we can identify how much total won amount and how much lost amount. And the last thing we are calculating over here for open OPs, what is the number? So we are just adding 1 to a variable. So if there are 5 records, every time it will come and add 1 to it. So ultimately it will be the total open OPs will be 5. So this way we are adding up and we are just calculating what is the total won amount or lost amount or how many open opportunities attached to this particular account. And at the action, we are sending an email. So as I mentioned in the last time, like we can use text template for the beautification of the email body. So here you can see I just created a sample email, dear customer, please find below details related to your account. And we are sending the account name as well. What is the account name? And then the total won opportunity amount, total lost opportunity amount, and how many open opportunities we have. So, and we are sending it in the colorful manner. You can just change it, or you can just add the numbering. So you can just make it in rich text format and with the help of text template. So this way we can use this resource manager as per our requirement. Like we created this total lost amount, total open OPs, how many total. So we can create different variables or text template to utilize it in our processing. So once we'll do that in action, we just have to define like what will be the body. So we are using this email body over here. Then what will be the subject? So account opportunity details we are sending, and we can define the email addresses over here with the comma separate. And this particular is the important thing over here, that rich text formatted body. So as we are aware, we are using text template. So we just have to make sure that rich text formatted body must be true over here. So this way we can send the rich text formatted emails as well with the flow. And so we can use this particular flow onto the account record page with the button, and that button can be clicked, and then we just get an email with all the details of that particular account. So this way, auto launch flow can also be utilized in our day-to-day scenario where we just have to create a custom button, and on the back end we want to perform some operation. So we can use auto launch flow in such scenarios. So the next type and the last one is platform event trigger flow. So as I mentioned earlier, this type of flows start when a particular platform event message is received, and it runs on the back end as other flows, and it can be utilized, and it can be used for the platform events. So for example, here I'm sending an email whenever there is an error while AI prediction. So AI prediction also works on the platform events. So if for any predictions, if there is an error, we want to send an email to the user that there is an error in the AI prediction and they have to take specific action on it. So I'm just going to the flow builder, and here we can just select different type of platform event. So if I remove it, it will just show us all the different type of event. If we have any custom event or the existing event, like if there is an error in the flow execution, then we can also define like what action need to be taken, or if there is an error on the batch apex. So in such cases, we can select this, and if there is any error, we can, so in this case, we are checking if error in prediction. So there is an field AI has an error. If it is true, then we just want to send an email to the user. So we can define the body over here. So again, we have used the text template, and we have defined this rich text formatted body as true. So this way we can just define the action, or we want to perform some other, or we want to add some record on a log custom object, or we want to update something on the record, specific record. All such type of operations can be performed over here. So these are the different type of flows which you can utilize in different scenarios, and you can perform the operation based on the requirement. Now we'll go to the last section of this session, which is like the flow roadmap, Salesforce flow roadmap. So in the last Summit 21, which is already live in production, so they have added multi-column flow screen. So just now in the screen section, we have seen like we can define the screen into multi-columns. And then debug flows that have record trigger flows. So for record trigger flow, they have introduced the debug now. Earlier, it was not an option. So now you can debug a specific record and see how record trigger flow is working or not. And now also they have introduced is change prior value or is new. So in record trigger, if you want to perform some operation, if a specific value is changed, then only we want to perform that record trigger flow. So that can be achieved now. And scheduled path as well. So as we have seen in our one scenario, like so we want to run a specific operation after 3 hours from the close date, and if you want to run it immediately. So in record trigger flow, they have introduced this scheduled path as well. So we can schedule a specific operations based on the requirement, and then sort collection element. So we we forgot to mention this, but yeah, now we can see it. So if I just drag and drop it, so it will just provide me the collection variable. You can define any label over here which is meaningful to you. And in the sort options, we have collection variable, and we can define like by account ID you want to sort it, or you can define any other variable. So which is as per requirement. So if I want to sort it based on the fiscal year, so I can do that and define the order as well, ascending or descending. And there is one more option to it, which is the set the maximum number of items. So let's suppose I just want to fetch only first 50 records or first 10 records. So I can define over here like how many number of records I can fetch it. So this way you can use this collection variable based on your requirement if you want to sort on the multiple orders. So we can define the different sort orders as well, and restrict it with the number of records as well. So this is also introduced in summer 21 only. And then choice improvement. So on the choice, like the pick list values, we can define whether default values or none are required. We can define on that. And in upcoming release, which is winter 22, which is coming probably next month. Next best action, it is related to the Einstein prediction. So the next best actions can be defined on the flow itself. Earlier, it was having a separate UI, which was little tricky, and now it is on flow. So in the next release, we can define the next best actions for the predictions on the flow itself. Then automatic field, as I mentioned on the screen flow, like the fields from the existing objects can be utilized on our screen flow itself. So when you know to define the API name or the variables on the backend, we can just directly use the fields from the account variable or the custom objects. So that is also will be generally available from the next release. Then auto layout. So when we create a layout, there is an option auto layout can be utilized. And subflows in triggers. So now we can call, just create subflows. So let's suppose I have a specific operation, I need to use it at multiple places. So what I will do, I'll just create a subflow, and that subflow can be used in triggers, or it can be called from the process builder, or you can utilize in the some other flow as well. So subflows can also be utilized in the trigger flow from next release. MuleSoft actions can be taken. So if there is an integration need where we want to perform some operation with the MuleSoft, so that also can be done with the flows itself. And the last is the most important one, which is outbound messages. So now outbound messages can be sent through the flow itself, which means for all the operations which can be done with the workflow rules now can be done with the flows as well. So you can just move all your workflow rules on the flows, and the process builder also, there are a lot of things which can be done with the flow. So in the upcoming releases or in the future, most probably the workflow rules and process builders can be moved to the flows. And in the next release, which is Spring 22, the flow orchestrator will be there, which will help you to define the process. Like if you have like uh, uh, your sales process where you need to specify specific operations, like first the sales rep will interact with the leads, and then they will go to the, so you can define those operations over here, and it will automatically intimate to the users or sales rep, okay, this step is completed, now you can follow the next step. So we can automate the processes as well with the flow orchestrator, but it will come into next release. Then we can create the LWC version of the flow component. Then custom styling will also be added to the screen, so we can change the CSS or the styling of the screen as well. And We can create the known admin flow as well. Some complex flow can be added and subflow can be debugged in those release. And the last thing is like Salesforce will help us to migrate from workflow rules and process builder into the flow. So there will be most probably a tool or some guidelines will be there to just to transfer workflow rules and process builders into the flow. So now in the future, we'll be using the flows for all the automations or for any process automation will be required. So we are going to use flows in the future. So I would request you, everybody, to just learn the flows as it is the future of the Salesforce automation. And that's all for today's session. And now we are open for the questions. So if there is any questions, yeah, please go ahead and we'll try to answer them. Thanks for the listening and joining the session. And thanks a lot for Park Dreaming organizers for organizing such a great session and the event where we can share the information and we can learn with the all the trailblazers. So thanks. And yeah, if anyone has it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very great session. A lot of things have been learned by all of us. So for all the attendees, there's a tab under session Q&A. You can post all your questions, and all of it will be answered. So I guess there is first question is already there by Anish Babu. Okay, so the question is, hi Ankush, could you please provide a use case for or example for pause element?
Yeah, so pause element is like we are on the, for example, there is a screen flow and we want to perform some operation and we want to get some information from the user, and it sometimes it may take or from the other system, like we have another system where we have that information, like we have a SAP in our organization and we are getting the information from the SAP manually. So in that case, the user can pause the flow and then just get the information, and then it will just go and just resume the particular flow to provide that information to the flow to proceed further. So if there is a lag or we are aware that we have a process where it may take time for the user to get the information, so in such cases, we can pause the particular flow and we can just fetch the information from the business or from the some other team, which can take some time. So in such cases, we can use pause and we can just get the information and resume the flow. So any other questions? Let me just stop sharing the screen and then I'll just see if there is any other questions. So Shan, I think you're on mute, so.
Oh, sorry. Next question is by what time
Okay, so yeah, I think Sudeep has mentioned like what time zone it consider for the schedule flow. So schedule flows, it will consider your org time zone, which is set in your org. So it will run based on the org settings, like what will be the time zone it is mentioned at the org level. So yeah, you have to take care about that, like at what time it will be running. So, and the next question is, for a complex business process, like when debugging may be required later, what Salesforce recommends, like code or flow. So yeah, Ajay. So if there is any complex system and where like a lot of processing is happening and it cannot be achievable with the flows, definitely the Apex or the triggers will be there on the backend or the batch Apex. Like there are multiple records, more than 50,000 records, and you want to process it. So for the flows as well, normal restrictions will be, the governor limits will be available, applied. So in that case, definitely you have to go to the batch Apex or to the triggers for the complex thing. But yeah, definitely if it can be, means if you are aware like how much records in my org or in the future, how much it, whether it will be going to reach governor limits or not. So definitely before go proceed further, you just have to decide whether you need to go with the flow or with the Apex. But yeah, still, if there is less number of records and it can be implemented in the flows, then obviously the flow will be the better option to implement those things. So it is just for an automation, and it will be easy for you to utilize it. And in the very short span of time, you can create a number of flows. So this way you can automate your process with the very fast pace. So definitely it depends on the requirement. If a requirement can be fulfilled, then definitely you should go with the Salesforce flows. So next question is, do you think like flow will be sufficient to replace the approval processes? So yeah, so the next release there will be flow orchestrators. So there you can define the processes. So but yeah, definitely we have to see like what are all the options available with the flow orchestrators and what we can achieve with that. So if, and hopefully that will also have a powerful tool and have many lot of options with that. So in future, definitely there will be a chance like the approval process also can be go away with the flows. So yeah, so as I mentioned, like in next upcoming release, there are a lot of enhancements are going on the flow. So definitely it is going to replace many of the things, and it will increase the productivity and just improve the process in like the developing the applications for the users. Yeah, so Ajay, definitely it is hard to debug with the flows, and obviously we have to rely on the like means a specific record to run it, and we may not predict like what is going to happen with the 100th record or another record. So definitely we have to take that into consideration while creating the flows. But for the testing purpose, yeah, it is advisable that first we have to define it in our sandbox, and then we have to run with the sample records and see if there is any error. So that testing has to be done on the sandbox itself before going it into the production. So yeah, we have to take care of all such scenarios like where we can have different type of records and it may break at some point. So the testing has to be done thoroughly in the cases of flows. And yeah, it is little bit tricky because you just have to run the flow and see if it is. So for example, in the record trigger flow, what you can do, you just can bulk upload some records, 100 records or some records in the sandbox itself and see how it is behaving. So this way you can plan your testing and just use it for your debugging or for identifying if there is any issue on the flow. Is there any other question? So, Shayan, is there anything? So, I think we are on time and we are done with the session. So, Yeah, so the one more question over here on screen flows datetime field is shown in time zone complex format, not as it's available on the record page. Yeah, so right now we don't have any option for the record pages, but yeah, means we just have to wait for the another upcoming enhancements and see like how it is going to handle in the future. So, Shayan, I think at the end you have to run some tool, right? If I'm not wrong. Yeah, so just one question as well. So from Sudeep, so user level settings can be overridden in the flow settings. So in the flow settings, you can define if the flow should run in the user mode or in the system mode. So by which you can just change it and it can run in a user mode as well. Okay, so thanks for joining the session and thanks a lot for your time and hope you learned something today. And one more time, thanks a lot to the organizers, Pakistan Dreaming and